When you look at the general car park today, you'll find that it's filled with what I call the poser SUV/crossover. You know, the type that's 4x2 and hasn't got any more off-road capability than a normal sedan. Now, when the Renault Duster arrived at our offices for the 20,000 one-year test, it was obviously and still is in a different league. It's got a proper 4x4 system, a turbo diesel engine, raised ride height, as well as a fitted tow bar at the back. I was then prompted to set it various challenges throughout the year to test its capability and versatility. The challenges included a 5,000 kilometer road trip to the Northern Province, caravanning, dune driving, and a proper off-road trip with the whole family aboard. So on to the first challenge then. The first challenge faced by the Duster was a 5,000 kilometer road trip from Cape Town to Tsanin, which included a visit to the Kruger National Park. Now, this is a big challenge for any vehicle, but especially for something like the Duster, which is an entry-level SUV with only a 1.5 turbo diesel engine. I need not have worried though, because the 80 kilowatt 240 Newton meter mil made it easy to stick to the national speed limit even when it was fully loaded. Another pleasant surprise was actually the compliant and soft suspension, which is not usually found on any bakkie derived SUV, which makes it quite comfortable. Also, there's quite a easy to use infotainment center fitted to the Duster, which gives you standard satellite navigation, Bluetooth connection to your phone, and there's a USB slot to play your favorite music. There's unfortunately no CD player fitted. Some of the negatives experienced on the trip was that there's no cruise control fitted to the vehicle. The hooter is not fitted to the center of the steering wheel as you'd expect. It's actually at the end of the stalk here, which sometimes makes it difficult to locate when in a hurry. Also, the road noise at the second row seats sometimes meant that communication to my wife when she was attending to the kids at the back was a bit difficult, but otherwise a very comfortable experience. The best part of it is the overall fuel consumption for the trip, where it came to just below 8 liters per 100 kilometers, which is excellent for a vehicle of this segment. As the Renault Duster arrived at our offices with a tow bar fitted, I thought it would be a good idea to try caravanning as the second challenge. The hitching process was actually quite easy, and the towing experience was still very comfortable, with the suspension setup being soft, and it was really stable at speed, so no issues with caravan swaying and so on. I must say what really helped in case of the Duster is the low first gear. The vehicle hasn't got low range for off-road, but it's got a really low first gear, which makes pulling away with a caravan fitted really easy and comfortable. We had a lovely break, and on the way back I had to tow in a really strong headwind, but even so the average fuel consumption for the entire trip came to 11 liters per 100 kilometers, which I still think is excellent. So the third challenge for the Duster was dune driving. Now, how this came about is we had two hardcore off-roaders in the office, and they wanted to do a photo shoot on the dunes of Atlantis close to Cape Town. Now, that was too alluring for me not to take the Duster along. So when we came to Atlantis, what I did was I locked it into 4-wheel drive, switched traction control off, and I actually lowered the tire pressures to 1 bar. And I must say, the Duster performed excellently on sand. The only obstacle that actually defeated the Duster was like the highest dunes where you needed more power. Even my colleagues had to swallow their sneering remarks in the beginning of the day, as the Duster really performed well. I would say that's another pass for the Duster. So, the final challenge of the year was a family breakaway at a remote location on a farm on the south coast. There was one problem. There was a 1-hour 4x4 trail to reach the secluded beach house on the ocean with a very steep drop towards the end. Now, I was fully loaded up with family, 2 kids and the roof box completely filled. I wasn't quite worried about a steep downhill going to the beach house, but return journey was a different story. It was very similar to what we have here today, a very steep uphill littered with rocks, and to be honest I was a bit worried. But I can tell you the Duster fared very well and got us to the top, no sweat. We hope the same will happen today. So in summary, is this vehicle perfect then? Well no, in some sense you do get what you pay for and it's a bit rougher around the edges. During the 20,000 kilometer test we did have a few issues. One is the heavy steering during parking, which makes it a bit difficult. Also we had an intermittent starting problem that went away. The first 15,000 kilometers service at the multi-franchise dealer was also found wanting, but there's a lot to like about this Duster. For instance, the can-do attitude of this vehicle, the torquey but still frugal turbo diesel engine, the off-road capability while still retaining that comfortable on-road behavior. The best part of the Renault Duster is the value for money proposition. If you think about it, the Renault Duster can be had for 260,000 Rand. That Jurgen's Expo Caravan costs around 170,000 Rand. So the combination is still cheaper than one of the top line 4x4 double cab bakkies. So I think all in all, Renault has done a great job with this product.